Hey everybody, welcome back for another memory keeping video. This time it's for the week of February 24th through March 2nd, and I used this Sims themed kit from Cinderella Paper. I've been wanting to use this art for a long time and I finally purchased it. I love this plum bob pattern and I am glad that I finally got to use it. I really only played Sims like twice in the month of February, but apparently February was also the 25th anniversary of the original Sims, so didn't totally know that when I picked the kit, but it did work out that way because of the anniversary. So I am going to go ahead and put down the base. This week was just a pretty garden variety week. My kitten has decided that because I'm talking to Clover, talking to quote unquote somebody else, she needs to run around and cry right now because how dare I pay attention to anybody except for her. Both of my cats are like this. As soon as one of us hops on a Zoom call or I'm doing a voiceover or we're talking to somebody on the phone, it's just like, why are you not paying attention to me 100%? They're funny. But yeah, pretty garden variety week, just a lot of teaching and the start to kind of the grading rush of the semester. And my husband went out of town this weekend because he had an appointment, but also to visit some family. I had a lot of meetings. But then as far as the weekend goes, it was pretty quiet. I just kind of stayed home, hung out with the cats, watched TV, very basic stuff. I did finish the puzzle that I think I started it the week before. And the weather was pretty nice this week. I remember it was like 70s, which is pretty nice for February here in Northern California. It kind of like cooled off again in March, I feel. It got more rainy, but we'll talk about that once we get into March. I am now almost 3 months behind in my planner as of now, although I'm telling myself it's fine because like in literally, I think like 2 weeks, I'm gonna be off work. So then I can probably film like several videos a week. Right now I am struggling to even film and voiceover like one a week just because of all the other things going on with work and we've got some graduations coming up and all those types of things in real time. But for this week, it was mostly at home. We spent a lot of time at home in like late February, early March, and then I feel like we started getting out of the house more in late March, early April, and now we're just like out of the house a lot. So it's kind of a lot, getting a little bit overwhelmed. But it's exciting because then when I don't have things going on, I get bored and anxious. So it's like good to have stuff going on, but then when I have too much going on, I feel like everything happens at once. Anyway, enough rambling about that. I didn't do a full box on Saturday just because I knew I had a lot of tiny little things I wanted to mark. So instead of doing an extender, I just opted to not put a full box down. And then that means I get to use this art again, which I really would like to do. I normally buy like ultimate kits from people, especially like Cinderella Paper, because she's usually running a sale, so they're pretty affordable. But lately I'm starting to like lean more towards mini kits just because there's certain themes that I think are going to be like a one-time use for me personally. Like we've got some concerts coming up and some other things where I'm just like, I don't know if I need an ultimate kit of that because I do feel obligated to use as many stickers from a kit as possible. I don't like throwing them out. I also don't like necessarily destashing them because I do feel like destash piles end up having most of the things that people don't use. So I think whoever gets the destash is probably just going to toss it too. I don't know, just my opinion. Let me know if you ever shop anybody's destash or like get their destash, what you do with that stuff. But I do try to use as many of my stickers as possible, even if like it's just leftovers. But yeah, anyway, I'm just rambling on, sorry. In the sidebar, I have 2 habit trackers, one for flossing and one for doing my puzzle. And then I grabbed a leftover this week header to mark my dinners for the week. And then here I am replacing one of the full boxes because I didn't need to, but there were 2 of this like gamer controller box. And so I didn't want to have 2 left over. So I needed to use one of them this week. So that's what I'm doing here. And then in the sidebar, you'll see this in a moment, I'll zoom in, but I marked with the Beneva Creations cat that Clover was just really cute this week. She'd been really cute for months prior, but she just really wanted to hang out and be active. She's kind of on a schedule right now as a 2-year-old cat where she like sleeps for a couple hours and then is really crazy for a couple hours, then sleeps again for a couple hours and then is up again for a couple hours. Whereas Evie just like sleeps straight through most of the day. And then the second thing I marked with a wonton and a million sticker is that it was just sunny and 70 degrees this week. It was pretty nice. That's like my ideal weather, is like not too hot, not too cold, not gonna sweat, but also not gonna freeze. Like it's perfect. But where I live, we don't have that all the time. Okay, the first thing I marked on Monday, this is kind of weird. I just wrote in I had a Russian hacker nightmare. I don't remember exactly the plot line of this nightmare, but I was clearly anxious and dreaming about things that are not entirely improbable, let's be honest, but were also just very bizarre. And then I marked going to work, so both of those stickers were from Sweet Ava's Paper. As of today, I saw, so I'm filming this on, what is today? May 13th. I think she's shutting down the sticker biz for real, so hopefully you got whatever you wanted from her if you were hoping to shop from her. Then I marked grading with another Sweet Ava's Paper sticker. I marked watching Great British Bake Off with a Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. And then also from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. I marked that my husband was working late. I'm pretty sure he had some sort of community meeting or something like that. First thing I marked on Tuesday was just tidying up the house. Like I mentioned a video or two ago, Tuesdays kind of became my tidying up the house day, at least when I didn't have grading to do. This semester I got to take a lot of Tuesdays off work just because I'm only teaching 3 classes, so I could just do most of my work on like Thursdays and Fridays, and then Tuesdays could kind of be like an admin day. So I marked that with a Sweet Ava's Paper Girl, and then I had this old leftover sticker to mark working out. And then I did a voiceover and filming some videos for YouTube. So that is also from Sweet Ava's Paper. I read a little bit, so I'm gonna have another Sweet Ava's Paper Girl. And then I just marked playing hide and seek with Clover. This is not like a one-time thing. This is like a frequent thing. She loves playing tag. She loves playing hide and seek. And I described that to a sibling at one point, and they're like, well, that sounds bad for losing your cat. I'm like, no, you don't understand. In this case, I am the one hiding and Clover is the one seeking. So it's quite cute. I love playing hide and seek with my little baby cat. And then I just marked watching more Great British Bake Off. Wednesday, didn't mark a whole lot. The first 3 stickers on Wednesday are going to be from Sweet Ava's Paper, and I marked going to work, I marked grading papers, I marked reading my book, and then I used a Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. This is actually one that I just cut out from like the top of one of her character sheets because the cats are so cute. So I just marked watching a bunch of comedy, probably on Netflix, just probably comedy specials I've already watched, to be honest. But they're kind of like songs, they're kind of like records, like you kind of like listening to them again. And then at the top of Thursday, I'm going to mark with a Sweet Ava's Paper sticker that my husband worked from home. I picked the one where the cat on the paper clip is wearing sunglasses for some reason. I don't know why, I just thought it was funny. And then I was lesson planning, so I have a Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. I tried to use yellow stickers this week as well as red, because even though red wasn't a main color in this kit, it is in a lot of the accents in the art, so I tried to pull some of that in. I had a lot of flexibility, I feel, with this kit as to what colors I could use for my icons, because there were like the core pastel colors in the like labels, but then there were little bits of green and red and other colors in the art itself, so I think that worked well. I was grading more papers, and then we went out for a date because my husband was going to be gone the next day. So normally we go out on Fridays, but this time we went out on a Thursday. So we tried a new restaurant in town. It's kind of like a tapas restaurant. I think we got like some sort of like fancy pizza. We agreed this was not a place that we would go on a regular basis because it was like kind of expensive for not that much food, which is nice every now and then because the food is good, even if you're not getting like a ton of it, like Cheesecake Factory or something. We don't go to Cheesecake Factory. We're kind of over that at this point. But yeah, we'll save that for special occasions, we think. So I had an icon from Cinderella Paper and a date night script from Magical Sticker Co. And I really hope Magical Sticker Co. reopens her shop at some point. I've been watching Lindsay's videos lately, and I know there was like Foil Mageddon last year. That's what I'm choosing to call it. But I hope Lindsay can reopen her shop at some point because I think her quality is great. And then I just marked watching YouTube with my husband, so I have a TV sticker from Sweet Ava's Paper. Friday in the morning before work, I drove my husband to the airport, and then this was the day of like the big business boycott, which, let me be clear, I don't think boycotting something for one day is going to solve all the world's problems, clearly, but I still was able to participate. I yeah, I think we all need to work together a little bit more on these things, because I just always see this back and forth of people just criticizing any sort of action anybody is taking. And we don't have time to get into all of that right now, but I think a lot of us need to work on building more coalitions instead of like pointing fingers at people who we might be able to ally with. Let me know what you think about that. I could elaborate, but we don't have time right now. I also marked that I thought I might have a sore throat, mostly from like allergies, I think. And then I had back-to-back meetings this day. So my first meeting was in person, so I marked that with a Sweet Ava's paper sticker. And then my second meeting was right after on Zoom. So actually, one of the people in the original meeting with me was in the second meeting as well. So we were able to use the conference room we were in, and they had this like big weird camera that you can use for like Zoom conferences in that room. So we just joined that way. So then at the bottom of the day, I did some grading, and then I watched the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special, which I recommend very much. I just kind of like watched it casually because I was like, I don't know, let's see what happened. It was so funny. The anxiety song that Andy Samberg wrote for the 50th anniversary is like my theme song now. It's how I remind myself that, you know what? A lot of people feel this way too. So that was quite funny. And then I started watching the new Kristen Bell show on Netflix called Nobody Wants This. I thought it was cute. It's not so much of a comedy as, I mean, it's a romantic comedy, but it's more focused on like the romantic side than the comedy side. I thought it was cute. Yeah, that's all I'll say. And then I had to give Clover her inhaler because my husband normally does that, but he was gone. And then I marked running the dishwasher. I do this all the time, but I don't normally mark it because I don't normally have space. But this day I did. Then on Saturday, I had this weird dream about, I don't remember what, but I was just having a lot of like anxiety about my health for some reason. I did Clover's inhaler both times this day, and did laundry. So at the top of Saturday, we have Sweet Ava's Paper, Itty Bitty Sticker Co., and Beneva Creations. I worked out again, and then I was doing some filming and voiceover work. I also read my book, and Clover had a little bit of a wheezing fit this day. This just happens every now and then with her asthma and or allergies, so we're not really sure why, but it's just kind of how it is. So all of those stickers in the middle of the day are from Sweet Ava's Paper, and I ripped the poor cat's ear off, so I had to be a little bit dainty and try to piece his ear back together. We figured it out eventually. Then I continued watching Nobody Wants This. I think I finished it this night. And I was also watching, I think Wanda Sykes had a new comedy special out. And I had seen like a clip from it about like her perspective on like just accepting trans people for who they are. And that really stood out. So I wanted to watch the whole special. So I did that. It was good. So I'm going to mark that with the TV from Corks and Corks Co. I had to scoop the cat litter because my husband normally does that, but of course he was gone. And then I was like experimenting with MyFitnessPal. Those strawberries are from the sticker party. I was just trying to make sure I was like getting everything I needed, and it got old after a while. Like I probably should go back to it, but it's just tedious to, like, I don't know how many calories or how much whatever is in whatever I'm eating unless it's like from a package, and I'm trying to eat less packaged stuff. So I don't know about that. And then I played with the cats. So that last sticker was from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. I realize I have not been marking playing with the cats a lot lately. It's probably because I haven't been playing with them as much, and that might be why they are. I don't know, they've been better at playing with each other though, which is kind of the goal when you have two cats, I feel, is like play with each other so that like you burn off each other's steam a little bit more. So I feel like I've had to play with them a little bit less just because they've been chasing each other more, which is good. So then at the top of Sunday, I marked giving Clover her inhaler. I also marked playing Sims on my iPad. So unfortunately, those stickers are from Simply a Mess, who no longer sells stickers. And then I marked with this gas sticker because I didn't have a car sticker. I think that's from the sticker party that I picked up my husband from the airport, and there was an absolute downpour this day. Like it was raining so heavily on my drive up 5 to go to the airport, because if you're not familiar with Sacramento, which most people probably are not, our airport is like north of the city. So the area in between like the city itself and the airport, I feel like whenever it rains there, it's just like an absolute bucket of rain being dumped on you. So it was a little scary, but we got through it. I feel like I'm pretty good at driving in the rain. It's just everyone around me is like terrible at it, but maybe that's how everybody feels. I don't know. So I marked that with a Sweet Ava's paper sticker. I marked more reading. And then I finished my Rainbow Cats puzzle this day. So I have a puzzle sticker from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. And then I was watching a bunch of like old John Mulaney specials on Netflix and Eat the Menu on YouTube. So that TV is again from Corks and Corks Co. Now, Cinderella Paper has this paper that I really don't love right now, so I do have to use a fine point Sharpie on it, or ultra fine point Sharpie, I think. But I've been figuring out like what style of writing to do to make that work for me. But that is the final spread. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my week. I think the little pops of green and red worked. I think. Let me know what you think. But I hope you are having a good week, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!